Hey guys, hope you're having a good day. So today's project is this Troy-Bilt TB90BC straight shaft string trimmer, weed whacker, whatever you want to call it. This came to me from a neighbor who's trying to give it to another neighbor with me in the middle to get it running. And it's a little bit of an older model, so the lines are older but still intact. The purge bulb's still a little pliable. I'm not going to press my luck on that one, but the tank is clean and the lines are still attached in there. So I'm going to try putting some fresh gas in there and see if we can get it running that way, and then I'll mess with the lines. If not, we'll take that cover off and go the spray route. But I'll get you set up and we'll get going. All right, we got gas in there and I'm going to very carefully try to purge this. All right, not purging. All right, well, I pressed my luck and the line broke. So we'll have to go the spray route. And it looks like they got a lot of screws to take this back off. I see at least 4. All right, so yeah, it was just 4 T20 screws at all 4 corners to take that cover off. So here we go. All right, well, I think we can move on the lines. I did notice the throttle trigger is stuck, so we'll have to look at that too. But let's take it inside. Okay, we're inside to assess this spaghetti mess of fuel lines that they've given us here. So as far as the filter goes, that's on this side of the tank. There's an arcing line that goes around this U-shaped tank and exits right here. So that's going to be real fun for later on when we route that line. But it goes through this black cover and into the bottom of the carb. From there it exits the carb, goes through another hole in the black filter or black filter cover, and then into the back of the purge bulb. From there it exits and goes through this blue line. That's the one that actually failed outside, and that's the return to the tank. And that kind of looks like maybe that was replaced one time before, because there's no barb on the inside. So that's my thought on that. But I think what we'll do is we'll start with the carb. We'll open that up, and hopefully we don't need a kit. I'm not optimistic at all with that, but we'll start there and then we'll move to lines. And I did check out the trigger. It's a palm lock. It has a palm lock on it, so when you're holding the handle, it allows you to move the trigger. When you're not holding it, it doesn't allow you to throttle it up. So yeah, we'll start with that carb and move on. All right, well, another T20, so at least they're consistent there. Okay, Walbro WT-827A. So good to see an original carb. Let's open this thing up. let's start on the, I think this is the pumping side. It's really stuck on there too. I think we're okay on that. Those little flaps look flat, so I think we're good there. Let's look at the diaphragm. I think this is going to be hard. It's all the old two-stroke oil that was left over from gas evaporating out of there. Yeah, that won't even move. Barely. Alright, well, it'll need a kit. I'll have to look that up and come back when I got it. Alright, well, I was going through cleaning this off camera in an attempt to not make this another carb cleaning video, but I noticed that the screen was clogged and it might be worth showing you how to do that. The needle is out. I was cleaning the inside of that and testing the screen by putting a little puddle in there. Notice it's not flowing through. It's still just retaining that fluid. So it needs to be replaced, and the way you typically do that is you just dig it out using whatever tool you want, like that. And you can see, you cannot see through that at all. It's completely plugged. So I pulled some parts out of partial kits that I'll be showing you later on, but this is a new screen from one of those partial kits that I ended up using. And you can see through that one. So this is the one we'll be using. And the way I put these in is I lay this in here like that. You have to get it as even as possible. And then I take a drill bit, the end of a drill bit, and press that down in. Like that. And there's your replaced screen. And you can see the whole way through it, even through the seat. So this will be good to go for reassembly. Okay, so this carb's ready to go. I've got that new screen put in. All the ports were sprayed out and I got the needle back in. And I checked the rocker arm with the gauge, and that's in a good spot. So we don't need to adjust that. And I was looking at the kit for this. It's a K20 WAT or D20 WAT, which I don't have on hand right now. So I do have this diaphragm from a partial kit, but it's not exactly the same one. But I did have this original diaphragm that came out of this carb soaking in fuel mix for the past few hours, and it did actually soften up. So I'm going to do a little experiment here and just try to reuse this one. And if it doesn't work, that's fine. I got a backup. But I'm going to give it a shot just out of my own curiosity and put this back in. This pumping side, I'm not going to mess with. It looks okay. So everything that came out of this carb is going back in it, and we'll put it back together. Alright, well now we got to do these lines, and I took a section of the old line and compared it to a size that I already had a length of, so we're good there. And my game plan is to take these 4 screws out and remove the tank. I think the tank's just sandwiched between these 2 pieces, the housing of the trimmer and then the air filter box. So I want to do that because I'll never be able to get my fingers up in here to push line in all the way to the other side where the filter belongs, which is over here. So it'll just be a lot easier for me to do that with the tank off, and I'll bring you back when I get this black housing off. Alright, so I got these screws out, and I was right. The tank's just sandwiched between these 2 pieces, and those 4 bolts hold the tank in as well as this cover, but the cover is actually the back end of the crankcase as well. So just be careful when you're taking this off, if you're doing it this way, to make sure all the dirt and stuff that maybe falls in here or is on this cover when you're taking it apart gets cleaned off before you put it back in. But I'll get this moved out of the way and we'll work on the lines in the tank. Okay, well, I got this cleaned up and ready to put new lines in. This is the line that was in the tank. I tried to pull it out and it snapped. This is the filter. I'm not sure why it's got these washers on there, but I'm going to leave them on and reuse this. And I'll put the return line in first. That was this one. And then I'll go and put the filter feed line in. Okay, well, I got this thing put back together, and one thing that was a little tedious was there's a clip here on the throttle cable, the end of the throttle cable sheath, that needs to be clipped into this cover. So as you're pushing this on, you kind of have to pull that clip through and make sure it's hooked on like it is here, just so that the throttle will work correctly once you get this all put back together. So I guess we'll move on to routing these lines. The purge bulb is okay. It doesn't look great, but I don't have another one, and it's not cracked or anything, and it's still working. So I'm going to reuse this. This is the return from the tank that goes into the back of the purge. This is the feed from the tank through the filter that goes into the bottom of the carb. And then I need to cut a separate line that comes out of the top of the carb, goes through this cover, and goes into the top of the purge. So I need to get the carb on in order to get the correct lengths for the lines. So I'll do that, and we'll get rolling on putting this back together. Alright, well, I got some gas in here. I wanted to test the purge, and I'm going to leave this cover off in case we just have to get back in and do that diaphragm after all. But I wanted to test the purge, make sure everything's working like it should. And it's pulling through the lines. Okay, let's take it outside. Okay, time to see if I was wrong about that diaphragm. Let's get that cover on. I think the air filter might affect the tuning a little bit, so I want to put that on there before I go any further. All right, cover's back on. Let's get this thing tuned with the air filter. All right, well that's it for this one. Just needed those lines and a screen in the carb. Those lines were kind of a pain, but these older machines usually are kind of encased in some way, so it is what it is. And I'm surprised that that diaphragm came back just from soaking it. It's kind of a good trick if you're in a bind and don't have a kit. But yeah, all this needs is some line in the head, which I'll probably do off camera, and I'll get it to the next person. And that'll do it. Thanks for watching.